Hot D, Episode 5. Politics, secrecy, court intrigue, and sexual consequences. What is it about weddings, anyway?
Spoilers up ahead.
Yeah.
Welcome back to AsArt. My name is Nick, and I have Pecos here with me, Kyle. Pecos with the 0 on Instagram. Go check him out on Instagram. Super talented artist. And we've been covering Hot D since episode 1. It's been so much fun covering the show. I'm really liking the show, especially after this episode.
Cool.
I mean,
we're in 6th gear now, man.
You have Lord of the Rings and then now Game of Thrones. Hot D's just really taken off. It's skyrocketing with its dragon. We're here to break down the episode. Wow, talk about tension building. They did such a good job building tension this whole freaking episode. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the wedding. We'll get to the wedding. But even like the whole boat scene, he's sick. You can just tell he's like yep. Barely making it, man. Viserys is barely making it. It's just like, oh my gosh, the tension.
Oh, speaking of, Nick, I don't know, but I actually found out what his illness is.
What is it?
Confirmed by the actor who plays Viserys, Paddy Considine.
What is it?
It's a form of leprosy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like grayscale.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I mean, because we know historically leprosy, you know, your limbs and appendages start falling off,
and his arm looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it's getting pretty ripe.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, dude, the trailers, dude, I don't know if you guys saw the trailer. His hairline is like, woo, like it's looking intense. He's looking pretty sickly as king.
So remember, in the trailer for next episode, there's a 10-year time jump.
Yeah, it looks like halfway through too, because it looks like we get them young and we're gonna get them old, which is kind of a bummer to see these actors go. Oh, I've been enjoying them so much on the screen. I really hope the next set of actors are just as entertaining and talented as these actors. They probably are. HBO has did a fantastic job casting everyone. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go into loose lips. We got to talk about loose lips. Oh my gosh.
Wait, loose lips? What are you talking about?
You
mean just like people...
Her fling.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he's so untrustworthy now. It's just like, oh, he's not ready for the Game of Thrones, dude. He just knew Kristen Cole was just gonna just blurt it out. It was me.
Of course, unthinkable for me to question the virtue of the princess.
It was me!
I just knew once he got excited, once he got invited to the Queen's room.
It was so frustrating because, like, you know, Alicent is like tiptoeing around the thing, like, I don't this because it's like sedition kind of, but like I don't want to imply that there's an incestual relationship. Yeah. But of course, because she's not outright saying it, Kristen Cole's like, oh, she's talking about me.
Yeah. Oh, right? What an idiot!
And the moment he said that, I'm like, that guy is going to be like hanging from a noose, or his head's rolling by the end of this episode.
Well, I mean.
Turns out not, because
it's going to be used for political power. That's the one secret she's going to have over her until the end of time, or until this guy dies, I guess, until Kristen Cole dies. It's going to,
because let's remember, in the Game of Thrones, secrets are currency.
Yes.
Information is paramount.
And chaos is a ladder. Isn't that what little piece? Yeah. First of all, I love the agreement they have before they get married.
Yes. It's a very sort of modern, sort of arrangement, because it's essentially an open relationship, right?
Yeah.
That they're talking about.
Yeah. And it was
you like goose and I like roast duck. It's all right, so long as we can pursue our pleasures.
I mean, technically, they both like the same, but
yeah, I guess so.
But
that's a good point.
But
it's a good point.
I thought that was perfect because she was setting up for this, like, this is going to be perfect, man. I'm going to have my secrets. I'm going to have my power. Like, oh, this is going to be so easy. Little does she know, this is freaking Game of Thrones. Nothing comes easy.
So the thing that really, there were two things that really set the mood for me that was like, oh, this is going to be like pretty serious, was when Larys Strong was talking to Alicent in the garden, and he's like, oh, I must have been mistaken. I heard that the maester gave her a tonic, gave her a tea. And so everything that was implied from that, and I'm like, and then when Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra had that talk on the boat, and I'm like, oh, this is high stakes, because Rhaenyra, she's a princess, she has a lot of privilege, right? And Kristen, that's the only good thing. Like you kind of get the sense that, like, him being a knight's like a king's guard
Nothing
is the
else.
only good thing in his life, right? Like that's keeping him going.
And I guess this relationship now.
And chastity, and like you said, chastity is like a rule you can't break, otherwise you're out. So it's like his life is in like his life and his livelihood's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I don't think Rhaenyra necessarily understands that, right? Yeah. Fully.
Yep. And it's so interesting too, like going back to Game of Thrones, right? I think King Aerys at the time was the Game of Thrones king, the Mad King. He made Jaime Lannister a Kingsguard on purpose so Tywin would never have an heir. It was like a way to get back at him. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, your son, you're going to be a Kingsguard. So, it was like a whole thing, and he got mad. He accepted, this whole whatever. But yes, it's so interesting to see that again in this. Oh, it's so good. And then I also love the conversation they had about the last names. They're like, okay, hold on. Yeah. Let's see what we can get out of this marriage proposal kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you will have the last names, but thus then, once becomes crowns, it would become Targaryens, and then they will become, it's just like, oh my gosh, this deal is
it's all an answer to the question, what's in a name? Apparently a lot when it comes to royalty.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, it was kind of cool too, because it shows the leverage they had.
Yeah, that's true.
He was standing up higher. He got off his throne. It was like the roles were switched, and it was very, very cool. It was very cool to see
symbolic,
that.
Yes.
And then the Game of Thrones part is coming in now. Like it wasn't like Game of Thrones yet, but now that the king is sick, there's like 3 people fighting for the throne now.
Oh, yeah.
And it might go even more than 3. We don't even know at this point. I mean, but we have 3 great contestants. Now Daemon is single.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh, that whole scene. Oh, talk about a way to set off the episode. Oh my gosh. Dude, he's dark, man.
Or I guess
he's dark.
It wasn't cool that he like killed his wife. It was cool in that, like, seeing the after the show stuff.
Oh,
or like everything that was implied from the book. Right.
Yeah.
Just like she, she fell off her horse due to a fractured skull. Right. And it's like that's an interesting, detail unprompted to give. Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like, maybe something, is amiss with her death. Right. And so that was kind of cool that they did that.
Now that's playing off the source material good.
Yes.
There's times where it could be bad, but that's like, that was right on.
And like an area where like you're interpreting the material, right? It's not you're not literally interpreting it, but you're inferring certain things from it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Kristen Cole proposes to run away, have freedom and love, and you obviously know that's not her main thing. It's just, dude, you're my, blank.
I am,
and we're gonna do it. Yeah. You're there to serve the queen.
Yeah.
And then, okay, we just got to get to this wedding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk about tension building, right?
Yeah. First off, I got one beef real quick.
Yes.
Can the king finish one friggin' speech with all these upstarts coming in, just strutting their stuff? Come on. It's his daughter's wedding, for goodness sake.
He's pretty polite. Good thing he's not feeling well. You know what I mean? Maybe that's part of the thing, him getting weaker. His body's getting weaker. He's just like, I don't have the energy to try to even deal with this at this point. And as you can tell, when he was sitting there watching his whole life fall apart, it's like his brother, he's seeing his brother go over to the daughter, and then it's like this going on, and he's just like, oh my gosh. And it's just, man, I was not expecting that. I thought Daemon was going to cause something. I thought it was going to be him, because he's the wild child. He's the bad boy. He comes in first to ruin everything. And the Silence are like, oh, we got to bring an extra chair and an extra plate and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's like quiet. He's not saying a word. And I'm like, that makes it even worse. Like, if he's not talking.
You're like, now I'm really worried. He's quiet.
He's a little too calm.
Yeah.
And then everything just it went down.
Yeah, so even Rhaenyra, I'm pretty sure she was taunting Daemon. Just like, why don't you take me for your bride? Like, take me with your dragon to Dragonstone or something, right? And just marry me there. And I'm like, be careful. He might actually do that. But I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's something we're going to hopefully find out.
I was 50-50. I'm like, is she taunting him, or is she kind of serious? Like, what's happening here?
Well, I mean, I think she does have feelings for him.
Yeah.
As we saw in the last episode. She wanted it. And I feel like she still wants it. I mean, she seems like she just wants it from multiple different people at this point. But
I mean, she's human.
Yeah. And then a fun note, did you ever watch The Office, the show The Office?
Nick. Of course I have.
There was a
scene.
I think there was a dinner party near the end of the season, near the end of the show, and then like Dwight announces names of people coming in. He's like, Jim, help us. And then like Jim comes back and forth multiple times. That's the vibes I got at this wedding.
Yes.
When they were walking in, they're like, Lord Lannister.
House Lannister with their lord, Jason Lannister.
James, Pamela, and P.P. Halpert.
I just reminded me of Dwight, which killed the moment for me because I was just thinking of Dwight and like Jim Halpert going back. Oh, my keys. Oh, this. And he kept saying, Dwight, Jim Halpert. I love that medieval stuff, though. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff is so good. Like, it's
Yeah.
And then the dance, I was like, man, this dancing, it went on forever, and it was just building the tension too. The way they were cutting to characters, the editing was so freaking good. The pacing was good. Like, it lived up to the other weddings for sure. Just the drums. Oh my gosh, the drums just added so much too.
Just like the red wedding, this had its own vibe.
Yeah, and the purple wedding too. The purple wedding was so intense with Tyrion, and he like poured the wine on him. Yeah. Pick up my cup, he kicks him, and do this, and then he's like choking when he was talking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the same type of vibes.
I wonder what they'll call this wedding.
The blood wedding, probably the bloody wedding. I don't know.
Isn't that what's implied from the red wedding?
That's the red wedding. But like they literally marry him with the blood on the ground still of his lover.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
That's intense.
Yeah, that was definitely a shotgun wedding at the end.
Oh my gosh, that was, and then the crown falling off his head. It's like it's like, oh dude, it's done. It's a
lot of symbolism going on.
Yeah,
and then of course the rat starting to come and drink the blood.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The vultures, the scavengers circle. Right?
Yes, the scavengers circle. Dude, Loose Lips, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with Loose Lips. He's still alive. He was going to kill himself in front of the God's Wood tree. But
just for everyone's reference, Loose Lips is Kristen Cole.
That's his new nickname. He's Loose Lips, dude. He's telling everyone.
Good old L&L.
And you know what though? I think what it is they're all so young. And they haven't really played the Game of Thrones yet. Even with them talking, they're just talking like, oh, this is going to be fine. This is going to be perfect. They're like still innocent. And it's so interesting because it reminds me of like Sansa Stark. Remember how like you had Sansa Stark, which is thrown into this world, and she's like, what's going on here? And like Tyrion's trying to befriend her. But then, it's like everyone's playing this game to try to get everyone. This makes Game of Thrones so good.
I think Alicent is going to be our new Sansa.
Oh, like in a way
just in that, like her trajectory as being pretty innocent, like lady in waiting, to being like a woman with power and like being like a boss, right?
Yeah, because it seems like she's there still, right? Because it looks like the king might die at the end of the next episode.
With the time jump, she's still there, and
the king is too.
By the way, so it will be a casting change. Alicent, who's now played by Olivia Cook, will be played by Emily Carey is playing right now, and then Olivia Cook will take place of the 10-year jump. The same thing with Rhaenyra. Millie Alcock is playing her right now. Yeah. But Emma D'Arcy will be playing the 10-year jump Rhaenyra.
They killed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then of course,
it's been so much fun.
Viserys, the guy who plays Viserys, Paddy Considine, he'll just have makeup.
They don't have an older actor?
Nope, not an older actor. Yep. That's the thing. Once you're past
and Damon's going to be Damon, right?
Just put the wrinkles on him,
Yeah. And then Damon's going to be Damon.
Yeah, Damon's still going to be Damon. Also, okay, I got two things.
Yes. Let's hear them.
One is I love when Viserys collapses out of his carriage when he returns, and you hear the head maester go like, "We don't need leeches." Like I'm like, here we go, medieval medicine. And then like also when they're tending to him in his chambers, like there's another maester that's like, "So I do have some herbal poultices that might." He's like, no, The leechings have always brought him relief. And I'm like, yep, there we go again. Adamant belief in leeches.
Crazy. That's so crazy. Even relatively speaking, it wasn't too long ago that they were still using leeches. That's you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty crazy. And then like
mid-19th century, there were still leechings going on.
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
They were also drilling holes in head for other things too. I mean, like holes in the head. Anyways, there's a lot of medieval medicine stuff.
Trepanning has been a medical procedure for thousands of years, and it's actually worked, especially alleviating brain swelling. But people don't get into that.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like there was like drilling. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. It's an advanced medical procedure, and how ancient civilizations did it has always baffled archaeologists. Anyway, getting back. So the other thing, I have a theory.
Ooh.
I believe that this wedding, in part, maybe not all of it, but there was a Lannister plot afoot during the wedding. Two reasons I thought this, because I went back to the scenes of that. You know, when people start reacting and we don't necessarily see what's happened, even though we know it's because Kristen Cole has attacked Sir Joffrey, who was the consort of Laenor, right? So I'm pretty sure those guys are Lannister-like troops. But in the comments, because I did a quick search here, I couldn't find anything to confirm if they're just King's Landing guards or if they're actually like troops from the Lannisters, right? From their own entourage that came, right? Then the other thing is, it's a real quick cut, but we remember Laenor was trying to get in there between Kristen and Sir Joffrey, right? But he is thrown out. He's sort of pushed aside onto the table by what looks like someone in a Lannister doublet in the red and gold, right? So I'm like, okay. So these two things kind of makes me think something is happening to instigate violence, or at least a more tense setting.
They might have made a pact with Old Town or the High Towers, right?
Maybe. So that's the thing. There's two other.
She wore green, and there was the statements meaning.
And that leads into the other stuff. Is there's two other power players, of course, like what you said, the High Towers, right? Because they're wearing green because of what is symbolically meant by that, right?
Yes.
To rally the banners, and then so remember, Lord Lionel Strong is the new hand of the king.
Yeah.
Right. And we've seen three different people from House Strong play roles in this episode, right? So there's of course Lord Lionel, who now has the ear of the king.
Yes.
I call this the seat of intrigue, right? So we've also seen Larys, who spoke to Alicent.
He's the guy with the cane.
About the flowers, yes, with the cane. And then there's also Sir Harwin.
He's the one that picked her up.
Exactly. Picks her up, punched some people. Yeah. That guy. So now we're starting to see that they've sort of inserted themselves more into a main area of like the political intrigue.
What house are they again?
House Strong.
Oh, okay. House Strong. Is that part of Baratheons?
Great question.
Okay.
Don't know.
Okay. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. There's a lot of houses, and there's like sub houses of the Baratheons area. You know what I mean? Like the Strongs and stuff like that. I don't know though, but I mean, if there was a strong guy that lifted her up, I'm going Baratheon, right? No, I'm kidding. No,
that's a pretty good guess actually, knowing what we know about Baratheons.
Don't count us as experts though, but I mean, this was a fantastic episode. It makes me really like the show. Like I was liking the show, but like after an episode as strong as this, it makes me want more higher quality out of shows like these. It really just reminds us of the good old days of Game of Thrones, like the height of Game of Thrones. I really got the vibes from this episode. I hope it continues. Tell us down below if you liked it, if you didn't like it. And also, if you think this is the best fantasy going on right now, obviously there's only two, but I'm not going to mention the other one again. But if you think this is the best fantasy on television, comment down below. We've been covering multiple different shows here, so subscribe to get all the updates and follow Kyle on Instagram, Pecos with the 0. He's a super talented artist. Go let him know you found him from AsArt, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. Dude, I still can't get over the wedding. Oh my gosh, the tension. I did not see that coming though. I honestly thought it was going to be someone else to disrupt the wedding.
Really?